patient's dysfunctional or deficient immune response by giving them reinforcements in the form of these NK cells from donor placentas that are produced in our manufacturing facility. The nice thing about this is it's administered via simple intravenous infusion. Putting an IV in can be done in an emergency room. It can be done in an infusion clinic. It can be done literally in a doctor's office. And the beauty is these cells boost, they supplement your own body's immune response to a disease, which makes it a very convenient and clinically deployable methodology that fits into pretty much any healthcare system. Now, the nice thing about getting these cells out of the postpartum placenta, this waste material, is it's an approach that's both scalable and ultimately will have economics that are not going to be destructive to the healthcare system. Okay.
Explain that a little bit why, Bob, in terms of the amount that you can utilize these, how you can do this. People will be saying how many placentas are being donated to make this happen. Can you explain just for a second before you go on so they know why it's really scalable and why the cost can be a lot less than a lot of the treatments, certainly a lot less than traditional cancer treatments?
So Cellularity has pioneered the ability to what we call culture expand and mass produce cells from the placenta, which means that from one placental donor, we can produce many doses of cells for different therapeutic purposes. Keep in mind, in the world today, 130 million placentas. 130 million placentas are disposed of every year. They're waste material. So it's kind of an inexhaustible raw material. And since you can produce multiple doses from one placenta, we don't see that as being a rate limiter to deliver therapies for these sorts of diseases. And because Cellularity, like other companies in cellular medicine, recognize that at the dawn of our industry, the manufacturing process is as much the product as the cells. We're getting better and better and better at creating efficiencies and quality systems so that these cells can be produced with very attractive economics.
Bob, let me inject one thing that's very important. I think if anybody who's listening, if you're pregnant or you know someone who is pregnant, right now, one of the things I think is almost a moral and ethical obligation is for you to bank your placenta. We've heard about cord blood banking, where you take umbilical cord blood and it's frozen. And if you ever should have a hemopoietic cancer, leukemia or something, that child, you can use radiation to wipe out their existing bone marrow and replenish it from their original bone marrow. But even better than that is the ability to keep the placental cells, both in this case, the stem cells, which are pluripotent. Not at this moment yet, but in the near future, we're going to be able to regrow organs, liver, lungs, kidneys, hearts. So I have two 9-year-old boys. 9 years ago, I banked the cells from their placentas. The company is a division of Cellularity. And full disclosure, I'm a co-founder, vice chairman of Cellularity, and Tony is an investor in the company. Just make sure everybody knows that. But it's called Life Bank USA. And it's a process that is simple and easy. And I just think it's something that most people don't know about. And if they did, they'd bank their placental cells.
What we're really talking about is how to use a natural material created by God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, to stimulate the immune system to get back to its healthy form again. And so, as was said earlier, you've got cancer cells in your body right now, but you don't have cancer because your immune system is working well. You've got streptococcus germs in the back of your throat. You don't have strep throat. You got to have COVID-19 in really tiny amounts like we're seeing and not seeing any, and your immune system's fine. It's also why, even though today we're seeing cancers and diseases like this in young people as well, the majority, Bob, you can approach or mention about this, are happening older. These are age-old diseases. Now, we're doing things that are suppressing immune systems, even children today. But as you age, the immune system starts to get down. So we're sending the information in, not just to deal with a COVID-19 or to deal with a cancer, but also some people are doing it as a preparation for their nervous system to stay at its peak before any of these challenges happen. True, Bob?
So the reality is that no placenta should go to waste. We have the ability to process and derive cells from the placenta and mass produce them. And the beauty is that cells can be cryopreserved, put in liquid nitrogen, and they can be available decades later. and they can still have value many decades later. So I'm with you guys. I think it's one of the great resources, and the opportunity to collect and process and bank is a great thing. More importantly, is every placenta, even if it's donated, can be the source of material to produce life saving products like the ones we're talking about. But to get back to the kind of the heart of what we're talking about today, um, cellular immunotherapy as a way to treat and defeat viral infections, I believe we are going to be able to demonstrate that this is a rational, logical way to go about supporting patients like COVID-19 patients. Hopefully, COVID-19 is a self-limited problem and we'll be beyond this very shortly. But as Peter pointed out, if this is a practice pandemic, we need to have tools available instantly if this ever rears its ugly head again. And it may rear its ugly head as a reappearance of the same virus, as the appearance of a mutated version of the virus, or a brand new novel virus that may have worse characteristics than this one. That being said, cellular immunotherapy, because virtually all virally infected cells are targetable because they all express very similar molecules that make them visible to these natural killer cells, might be the one-size-fits-all approach to dealing with these types of pandemics. We have to do the work to prove it, but it's extremely promising, and we believe it's very much worthy of the work that's going on right now to create unequivocal data in support of it.
Maybe the silver lining in all of this is to see, that the FDA and everyone is having to open up to new things, and it may speed up the capacity for cellular therapy to be really maximized, measured, and utilized. So we don't just prevent what happens in the future, but we continue to make people healthier along the way on the normal path of life.
And Tony, I think the three of us recognize that there's always a solution to a problem, and rather than throw your hands up and surrender because the problem appears to be beyond our current capabilities, I believe we have to enlist the ingenuity and innovativeness and inventiveness of this great country to solve the problem. We're already seeing that great innovations are putting a dent in this disease. Let me bring one thing up: hydroxychloroquine. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to hope you're going to bring that up.
Okay.
Thank you.
I mean, let's face it. Okay, a smart doctor who's very, very skilled in treating infectious diseases just was a good observer. He recognized